From Grove Studios in Ypsilanti, Michigan, an awesome space to record a podcast or hold your band practice, as I just showed our guests, without disturbing the neighbors. You can practice your DJ skills in one of the rooms here. Grove Studios is in Ypsilanti and certainly findable on Google. And if you're looking for a place to practice, I highly recommend it. I have been using it for a podcast studio for a year and a half. My name is John Bomarito, and today on Acoustic Alternatives, it's good to reconnect with a guest I haven't had a chance to chat with since I looked it up. Chris, July of 2018.
Whoa.
I know.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
It is a long time ago. And it's only
but look how good we still look.
We do look pretty good.
4 years. And,
I know.
Still okay.
I want to thank the generous support of Zingerman's Greyline in Ann Arbor. They are a great place you can trust if you're looking to hold an event. I'll talk more about them in the middle of the show. And this is a place I have DJ'd weddings many times, and I highly recommend it. But again, we'll talk more about Zingerman's later. But you can check zingermansgreyline.com. Open up another browser if you're listening to this on your web browser and just check them out while we're talking to Chris Trapper. Hello, Chris.
Good morning. Good afternoon. I don't know what time
people are listening.
You people might hear this, so good day.
Good day is how we
how about that?
We do cover it that way.
I was wondering how you say Ypsilanti. Was I punched it into my GPS? So I was like, I wonder if that Y is silent but yeah.
Ypsilanti. Yeah. That's how we say it.
Ypsilanti.
And most people shorten it to Ipsy just because it's easy.
Yeah.
There's actually a song by Loudon Wainwright III called Ypsilanti.
That's fun. There's a lot of good Michigan songs.
There are.
Like where the towns are in songs, which is cool.
It took me 4 days to hitchhike from Saginaw. Come to look for.
Where there's the old Lefty Frizzell song, Saginaw, Michigan, which that's a great song.
Got a gal from Kalamazoo.
Yeah.
Detroit Rock City.
Yeah.
We could do this all day. I know you got Boston songs in you, but any Michigan songs in your catalog?
I don't think I do. Honestly, I think I should, though. I should start working on that.
You have a pretty good fan base here.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I know some of them personally.
Getting better, yeah.
Well, your newest album, I'm going to hold up to the cameras, is Coldwater Waltz, and it's the 10th full length. Is that correct? Do you have the numbers in your head?
I stopped counting back in 2004.
Okay.
Because I think I'm going to make a lot of these things.
Good.
So I can just stop counting.
Well, pretty sure this is the 10th full length. There was an EP that came out digitally only, and it was an excellent album released back in 2020. Was that 2020 or 2021 now? I've lost track.
That record was 2020. I just remember at the start of the kind of pandemic lockdowns. Actually, it's interesting. Michigan was one of the last gigs that I played was at 20 Front Street.
Yeah.
And
I remember missing that. I think I was at Howard Jones that night.
Well, that's a better choice than seeing me. But so 20 Front Street. Just remember that news it started to spread about the pandemic. I'd just gotten back from a cruise that I had hosted where you had to fill out paperwork about being sick or not being sick, and then at the Michigan show, it was the best crowd I ever played for here.
Cool.
For just my own show headlining, and I remember making a joke at the start of the show, thinking that this is no big deal and people are freaking out about nothing. I just said, nobody cough. There's going to be a mass exodus out the door. And then there's a little chuckle. And I realized, people didn't laugh that much. So maybe, yeah. And then, so when I was home, I had written a lot of songs during a tour in 2019. I opened for Rob Thomas over the summer. Mm-hmm. So I was writing a lot of songs then. So when I was home off the road, all my tours canceled. So I figured that, why not make a record? Because, you can fly tracks around remotely now. So I had some of my favorite players play on it. Most of it is really, really simple. It's just me on guitar. So
it's a great record.
I don't even know if I answered your actual question, but
I don't know either.
Yeah.
What was my question?
It was hard to keep track.
I think the segue is, why don't you play a song from it?
Okay. I'll play the first song from it.
Sounds good.
I remember sitting out on the staircase. Though I was just in 4th grade, still I was worrying about my life. I was always outside, finding places to hide. Since the day I realized that I could never break up your fights. And all will be forgiven if we keep our secrets hidden. Into the dark we'll go. When I left your town, I always kept my head down. Worked till my hands hurt, still I could barely pay my rent. But I would always call home and ask how are things going, and if you got a laugh out of the funny birthday card I sent. And all will be forgiven if we all just keep on sinning. Into the dark we'll go. We'll go into the shadows on a boat without a paddle, and hope that it all will float. Only you know all that you are. Secrets burn slow and light up our homes under blue stars. But all's well that ends well. I'm here in this hotel, holding on to the memories of all the things that I let go. But I still see you waving at me from the driveway, and I still feel your love even though you left so long ago. And all will be forgiven if we all just keep on living. Into the dark we'll go. We'll go into the shadows on a boat without a paddle, and hope that it all will float. Only you know all that you are. But secrets burn slow and light up our homes under blue stars.
Under Blue Stars, a track you can find on the newest Chris Trapper album, which is called Coldwater Waltz. And Chris is my guest today on Acoustic Alternatives, brought to you by Zingerman's Greyline. Chris, thank you for playing that.
Hey, absolutely.
Love hearing your voice sing just about anything, really.
A little out of tune, but
is it?
But, well, not my voice. The guitar has been I've been in different temperatures lately, so
Yeah.
each tone's a little different. So
They certainly
I'm just
are.
making excuses. A poor craftsman blames his tools.
I'm allowing it to happen
Thank
today.
you,
It's
yes.
okay. Well, let's back up way back. You grew up in Buffalo, New York, before migrating to Westwood, Massachusetts, which is
Right.
near Boston.
Yeah.
Besides cold, what was it like growing up in Buffalo? Because I know that's a similar climate to what we have here.
Yeah, so I love Buffalo, and I go there all the time. I still have a lot of family there. I'm the youngest of 6 siblings, so we grew up in a 3-bedroom house with 1 bathroom, which my dad occupied most of the time because I think it was the only place where he could find peace of mind.
Makes sense.
So it was just very, very close, very intimate, very musical, lots of alcohol problems, which bred addiction problems over the years for the whole family, basically. But just lots of love, lots of laughter. And so I think Buffalo as a greater whole kind of equals that. To me, it's the people there feel very special and very down to earth and humble. Even the people who have means there are good people. You know what I mean? Like, but I've been fortunate enough to meet people in all different places of all different socioeconomic backgrounds, and so you start to recognize trends amongst people. And so I always think that Buffalo are just some of the nicest people around, the most generous, hold the door for you, light your cigarette, buy you a drink, that kind of, those kind of people. So, and so my family was musical. At the same time, one of my brothers was super into Jimi Hendrix and playing guitar. My closest in age brother to me, he was listening to Barbra Streisand in show tunes. So he's my brother who was into Hendrix taught me a couple chords on guitar. I was listening to show tunes like constantly because my brother had the lead in the High School Musical, and he suddenly became really, really cool in school and very popular. So I had those crossroads of just listening to show tunes and Jimi Hendrix. So it was a weird mix of things, but
I get it.
then started writing songs when I was 13 years old. My parents were super encouraging. They would have said if I had said I wanted to be a lawyer, they would have said why. But when I said I want to be a singer songwriter, they were like, "You go get him. That's a great idea."
Nice.
Because my dad, I think raising 6 kids, I think he had such a pressure just to bring home a paycheck that he never really got to live his dreams or his joy. So he wanted all of his kids to work a job that they enjoyed. And so he would always say, do something you love to do. You can figure out the money part later. That will come. And I've been super fortunate to play music professionally now for 22 years or 23 years, which I just think if you're lucky enough to have the word play in your job title, that's pretty freaking awesome.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something that I don't normally do during the middle. I'm going to try and move this so I can actually see your face. There we go.
Oh,
I can see your face now.
Yeah. Oh.
Hey. Something I realized as I was introducing the idea that you lived in Buffalo was that we get along for a couple of reasons. We're the same age,
Right.
but we both grew up in border towns, like Canada, just across the border.
Totally, yeah.
You absorbed a lot of Canadian radio, probably just like I did.
Totally,
Like,
yeah.
You know more Guess Who songs than most of your friends.
Oh, yeah,
from-
yeah. I was super into this one 80s band, Strange Advance.
Oh, I remember them.
From Canada, who nobody knows in the U.S. They had many hits in Canada, but that seeped over the border. So I actually lost my virginity to one of their songs. And then over the years, I became friends with one of the guys and got to tell him that.
That's a weird thing to tell
But
somebody.
very, very weird. But he was honored. He
I bet.
said
Oh,
that-
thank you. No one's ever said that before.
Yeah.
There's Buffalo actually plays an important part in one of my favorite bands, and there's a tie in there as well. When for a while I ran a Canadian import company selling music from Canada to stores across the USA, and stores in Buffalo kept ordering this band's CDs. I'm like, why do I not know Great Big Sea?
There you go. Yeah.
One day I just cracked one open. I'm like, oh my God, I've been missing out on this. I've opened everything else I had. And so
Yeah.
we'll get to that later.
Yeah,
Because there's a
okay.
tie in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of just thought about that. And I thought about, I wonder where Chris's family vacationed. You were so close to Toronto and Niagara Falls. And I'm
Yeah.
like, where did you guys go when you
Well,
went
we'd go to
vacationing?
the falls all the time.
Yeah.
Because there was this one restaurant that had a balcony right on the strip in Niagara Falls, Canada, which is a much more touristy section and international section. The Niagara Falls, New York's a little dicey, but Niagara Falls, Canada is just hopping. So my parents and my brothers and I would just go sit at this restaurant patio and just people watch. Because you were actually above the people. It was a second floor balcony, so you could just sit and watch all the people walk by. And my parents loved to do that, just sit and watch people and observe. So that was one of my most fun memories. And then when I was about 19, I went to Yonge Street in Toronto and played on the street there.
Full of record stores, Sam the Record Man. all of
Record
them,
stores
yeah.
and lots of people, and I made money singing on the street. That wasn't something that I did often, but that was I don't know why I picked Yonge Street. Just was something in my mind to do. So
Most popular street there, isn't it?
yeah.
Well, with 6 kids, though, I can't imagine there was a ton of like vacations. Was there?
No, I mean we didn't. We it's funny because my kids, I have 2 teenage boys. And they've been to India, they've been to Lebanon, they've been to Hollywood a bunch of times. They've been to New York City and all the small states and bigger states. But when I was a kid, I remember we took one vacation to Nashville, which was cool. We drove by Johnny Cash's house, and then we went to, I think, like Cape Cod once, which from Buffalo was a big trip. That was a big deal. But we never flew. My mom flew once in her whole life. So very, very kind of local vacations.
Well, you had no idea how much traveling was going to be in your life in the future, did you?
That's actually a great point. But I still love like I love driving. I don't love flying, but I like it now. I used to hate it, but yeah, it's something. We used to have a highway right behind our house. We used to live right on the 90 highway.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see it from my bedroom. I used to just watch the trucks all the time driving by. And late at night, when I couldn't sleep, get to stare at the trucks, always wonder what truck drivers' lives were like. And then over the years, I realized that's basically half my job, is being a truck driver, except I'm delivering songs rather than apples. So,
And thank you for doing that. I was thinking about another part of your childhood that maybe you're describing in your song, Wish I Was Cool. It sounds like you were bullied. Is that true? It's that song that definitely has that sort of like, if this is a true story of.
I mean, I was definitely, but I mean, I hate to be so dramatic about it, just because I think everyone was on some
an
level.
extent, yeah.
Because over the years, a lot of my high school, I just opened for Pat Benatar a few months ago.
Saw that.
So a bunch of my high school classmates came to that show in support of me. They're like, we have to go see Trapper open up for Pat Benatar. But in all actuality, in my high school years, I had maybe a couple friends maximum. I was definitely not cool at all. I stuttered very badly. So I had one guy who picked on me constantly about that. And like just a classic, just iconic bully. But I think everybody had that on some level. But the stuttering was definitely something that kind of sent me to my bedroom. The guitar became a great escape from that. And then over the years, the guitar and singing, brought me basically everything I couldn't get because of my stuttering and lack of confidence for that. So suddenly, people wanted to talk to me. People wanted to buy me drinks that I'd never met before. Girls, you found me handsome suddenly. So all the good things kind of came from music.
I was going to ask actually what came first, girls or guitars?
Definitely guitars.
Before girls.
Yeah.
Well, I meant like, were you inspired because, if I play the guitar, girls will like me?
No, you know what? I think that's definitely part of it for everybody. But for me, it became more of a way to say things that I couldn't say in conversation, and it became there's a real escape. Songwriting became just a way. Yeah, it was a whole bunch of things. It was identity. It was confidence. Escape from my family when things got chaotic, which that first song reflected a lot of that stuff back then. But then mostly joy has come from music, including like being on tour, being able to play for people, and so yeah.
When did you go from the bedroom to playing on stages, and was there a particular performer that might have had an impact on you wanting to do that?
Yeah, actually, I'd say my two high school music teachers were like my biggest kind of supporters, propping me up. Because I just remember my ninth grade music teachers. At one point, she was like, "Chris, you can really sing."
It's true.
It was the first time I'd ever heard anybody say anything like that confidently, who was kind of respected by people. You know what I mean? And I was like, "Oh, like she thinks I'm good. That's pretty awesome." Then my high school music teacher was the same exact way. She was like, "Chris, you should really stick with it. Like you have a talent for it." And she actually gave me my first paying gig. It was an Episcopal church choir that needed an alto. When I was in high school, my voice changed very, very late. So I was 17, and still my voice hadn't changed. So I'd be like, "Hey, Trapper, hey, Trapper." I'd be like, "Hey, guys, how's it going?" Like you know what I mean? So, but I make a paycheck from singing music, like $150 a month. And in high school, that was decent money back then. So
for sure.
So then, as far as songwriting, I had a friend of mine who I used to turn his poems into songs. He was a great poet, and so I had the challenge to try to interpret what his lyrics meant, just to find the right chords that fit that particular emotion that he was trying to convey. And so he and I became a Simon and Garfunkel type of duo, where I was both Simon and Garfunkel because I was taller, got a curly afro, but I also wrote and played the guitar stuff. Yeah. So
he was just harmony then.
Yeah. But he had a booming voice. So we did those gigs a couple of times in Buffalo to very limited support. Just a couple of drunk people showed up and kind of heckled us, and I still have a recording of some guy heckling us back in the old days, and it was just funny that nothing deterred me really back then. And then I had a band. I met a band in college. I went to college after high school. You limited success. I dropped out of college, but you dropped out with a band that moved to Boston from Buffalo. My college was outside of Buffalo, and so then we started to gig in Boston, but you were not that much. But I had started to do coffee houses on campus as a solo artist, and so I was more comfortable kind of doing solo gigs. And then I had another band in Boston, and then we signed a record deal, and it was a whole that's when I first started making a living while playing music.
I was actually going to ask about that
Yeah.
that ascent from the Push Stars being kind of a local band to getting. Imago is a pretty big label, kind of. Paul Cole's on that label,
Yeah.
for instance. And then you got Capitol Records, got your attention in 1999. What bands were you kind of competing with at that time? Who were your contemporaries at that point?
At that time, Capitol's big bands were, I think Radiohead,
Everclear, maybe at the same time?
Everclear, Meredith Brooks get a big hit then. But Capitol had a weird situation because they didn't really have much of a struggle making money because they had such a big catalog of Beatles and Frank Sinatra and that kind of stuff. So they definitely had financing always. So we only made one record with Capitol. But what happened was my college band that I moved to Boston with, we were really, I think, a very good band, but with no business acumen at all. We would practice for 6 months a year, then do one gig, and then go back to the practice space for 6 more months. Then do one gig, and then kind of look back and say, why haven't we made much progress in the past year? Even though we were super tight. And so then a couple of the guys moved back to Buffalo. And then I quit music, and I blame myself for that band's failure. And then I just started to do solo gigs. I just made a decision. My father actually pushed me. He was like, give it a shot. You're still writing songs constantly, and so try to make a living from it. And so I started to do coffee houses in Boston. And there's one point that I featured at one coffee house where I made $50 in tips because people tipped. And I remember that was a lightning rod moment where I can get paid to sing my own songs. And so then I met a drummer at one of the gigs I played, and he's still living. He told me, Chris, I'm going to get you a major label record deal in 1 month. He was so excited about meeting me and liked my song so much. So we started working together. Then I had an old friend of a friend from college who was working at a recording studio. So he actually said, come make a demo. We had no bass player, so he sat in on bass, and we just liked that first demo, and we got on so well together. And then that demo got us signed 6 months later. We're like, I guess we're doing this because it just kind of happened. And then we got a big music lawyer who's also Nirvana's music lawyer, and then we had a really, really big showcase with like 13 labels showed up. It was all those classic things. Limos at the airport when we were all broke and like we had no money at all. But you were being picked up in a limo in Los Angeles. He's driving around Hollywood. So
That doesn't happen anymore.
I know it doesn't. No, I know. So then we had a nice run for a decade, opening for cool people, and then we headlining and all kinds of stuff. So
It's a good thing.
yeah.
Well, about a decade ago, in an interview that we did together, you said something along the lines of,
Uh-oh.
I don't have any other skills." So, if you were forced into retirement, I mean, the pandemic could have easily changed your path.
Oh, big time.
What
yeah.
would you like? What else could you do?
That's such a.
You have to have some other skills, Chris. That was a joke.
I really don't. That's such a great question because I was confronted with thinking about that.
Of course.
Because hey, there's no gigs, and fortunately, I did live streams and then backyard shows and found ways to augment it. I was lucky that I could be a one-man band because if you're a bass player, you can't do anything. You're not going to do all bass playing live stream.
Not very often.
You might not get a big audience. But
Were the live streams lucrative? Did you make any money on those?
well, I wouldn't say that publicly.
Oh, well, this is publicly.
Yeah. It's funny because I have this constant thought in my head. I worked at a grocery store when I was 16. You know, my mom's birthday gift, when I turned 16, she was like, we're going out to put in applications for jobs. And I love that lesson she gave me because she was usually work ethic is very important. That's how we celebrated my birthday. But I got a job at the supermarket in Buffalo called Super Duper. And, I was a cart boy in the winter, pushing carts through the parking lot. But I always remember this one guy who worked in the produce department there, who managed it. They managed the produce department. So I think he was one of these guys who was like in his late 30s, maybe high every single day, he's on the job, but was always looked at him and he just seemed so happy because his job had limited responsibility. It's like, is the fruit fresh? Yes, I'll put it out there. But he just always seemed happy to me, so I always picture him. So I was like, maybe a grocery store job would be something, I'd like to do. And then I worked in the hotel industry later on, and I kept getting promoted, get that job. So maybe I would have done something. He's managed a nice property somewhere because, he's a manager of a very nice hotel in Boston, the Copley Plaza. He kept recommending me for better jobs in the hotel. Then at one point it became a debate because I had hair. Because I had hair like you had, very long
the
hair.
Picture I showed you, yeah.
Long, beautiful hair. And he said, I'm going to give you a better job if you cut your hair. And at that point, it was decision time. I decided to keep my hair, being stubborn and thinking, I don't think I want to be a GM of a hotel, but maybe someday. But yeah, I mean, I feel very blessed that the music he's paid the bills. I got to buy my parents a house at one point in time after a movie soundtrack happened, and so I got to repay them for their support back then, and
Nice.
And but so far it's worked out. But I never take it for granted. You know what I mean? That your next year I won't have to rethink my life. But that fear keeps you motivated.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
My guest today on Acoustic Alternatives is Chris Trapper, and it's time for another song, Chris.
All right.
What would you like to do?
Speaking of soundtracks, this is a song I have in a new Casey Affleck movie.
Oh.
And it's called, the movie is on Hulu now. The movie is called Every Breath You Take. It's the first time I ever wrote a song for a scary movie where he's not the psycho, but the guy who plays the psycho is Ned Claflin. I think that's his name. No, Sam. Oh, never mind.
What's the song called?
It's called, I'm totally spacing on what the song was called. I'm going to think of it by the end of the song.
Tell me when it's
Sorry
over.
about that. Okay, here we go. Oh, tonight I think I'm gonna try to slip out the back door. I've been blind to the sign that it's not in my mind anymore. Gonna walk through the weeds and then fall to my knees by the shore. Oh, I love you more. Oh, I love you more. Oh, the night that we met, I was so soaking wet from the sea. And you ran through the sand, wrapped your cold hands all over me. It was June, 'neath the moon, it was over too soon, can't you see? Oh, I love you more. Oh, I love you more. keep going over yesterday, but I keep getting nowhere. I just wanna go where I can fade away. Oh, the sun had punched out, so the lights had come out on the town. And the wind fell like glass, so I drank to my past until I drowned. 'Cause the one thing I'm missing, the thing that I wish would let go. Oh, I love you so. Oh, I love you so. Oh, I love you so. Oh, I love you so.
Chris Trapper on Acoustic Alternatives. That song doesn't sound scary at all.
No.
Sounds like a love song.
No, it's a bar scene where it plays, so.
I love you
It's supposed
so.
to be a bit of a party song, but with a little creepy element to it. So I figured, like, so when I wrote it, I was thinking about kind of obsessive love that you just can't let go. So that's kind of where that came from.
Been there, done that.
Yeah,
Do you remember the name of the song now?
You know what? I feel ridiculous, but it's the title did not jump out at me. It's Every Breath You Take. The song.
I love you so.
Oh my
Seems
God.
obvious. That's okay.
Oh my God!
You
I can't
think
believe-
I have to talk about Zingerman's Greyline?
I
You've
could-
been
okay, yeah,
You've been to Zingerman's before, I assume.
of course
You've
I
been to
have.
Ann Arbor a bunch of times.
Yeah, many times.
So
yeah.
they have a multitude of businesses, and one of them is a delicatessen. It's the most famous thing. They've got a roadhouse where they've got barbecue food, but they also have a couple of venues that you can rent
Oh.
for your events. And one of them is in downtown Ann Arbor. It's called the Greyline. It's where the bus station used to be. And they say it's a great place you can trust. And I've been there a number of times, so I can actually vouch for that. It's an ideal place for social events like casual or upscale weddings, rehearsal dinners, birthday parties, bar and bar mitzvahs, retirement parties, tailgate parties. All those things can happen there right in downtown Ann Arbor. It's a great place for corporate meetings, training sessions, staff parties. They've got a sound system that DJs like me can tap into, or use your own sound system, overhead system that works really well. Of course, because it's associated with Zingerman's, guess what kind of food it has? Zingerman's, which is pretty awesome in itself. The team from Zingerman's Deli, you get the most flavorful food and the best possible service. Tara over there has always been very kind, leading her team there. She's great to me. A full service event planner available as well. Zingerman'sGreyline.com is the website if you want to look them up. You can also call them at 734-230-2300. Single serving appetizers, plated entrees, everything in between. Zingerman's Catering and Events. They are the experts that can serve you at Zingerman's Greyline. So we want to thank them, because without them, this isn't happening today, Chris. And I'm going to be honest. That's true.
Well, thank them so much.
Yeah, because
I want to thank them by buying lunch at Zingerman's today.
come on over and do that. All right. Did you remember the name of the song?
No.
Okay, we'll move on.
I can look right at my phone in Spotify. Because you know why? It's because it's the only song of mine that there's not got an actual record. It's the first time I released just a single.
That's right. It's available on the website as a single. I forgot
So
about
that's why
That's why it's familiar.
That's why it didn't lock in with me, because it wasn't part of a collection. But
Will it be on a collection?
the title is not that great too. So because if it was, it'd stick out to me. But yeah, I think it'll be on my next record, whatever it is. But it's out now
Okay.
with the movie, kind of aligned with that. So.
Yes. Well, you've been a road warrior, certainly. 20 years at least since your first release as a solo artist. Along the way, you've made your fair share of friends, myself included. I'm appreciative of that.
Yeah.
Some of them have achieved great things, unlike me. Colin Hay, Rob Thomas,
Yeah.
the boys in Great Big Sea, just to rattle off a few of them. I know from spending a lot of time with you how nice of a guy you can be, so it's easy to see why these people are
You
drawn
said
to you.
can be, which is nice. There's a nice word choice. Very
I don't spend that much time with you. I'm sure you're a jerk sometimes,
that's true.
too.
That's true. Yeah.
I am. I know I don't mean to be, but sometimes I can be.
Right.
But they're drawn to you personally, I think the same reason I am. It's just because you're you. That in itself is a compliment. However, I think the bigger compliment for you as a songwriter is when somebody covers one of your songs.
Yeah.
Colin Hay is covering one of your songs for his next record.
Yes.
Great Big Sea had a couple of pretty big hit singles with songs that you wrote or co-wrote with them.
Mm-hmm.
Rob Thomas used one of his on his last album.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, as a songwriter, which of these is the ultimate for you? Is it all of them? Is it any of them?
Well, with Rob, Rob and I wrote some songs together. So we co-wrote a song for his Christmas record that it just came out. I just love them all as people, honestly. So that's how I view them, and don't think necessarily about the like for instance, Colin singing my song is a huge like that's mind blowing to me. Because had you told kind of younger me that someday somebody of just his talent level in acumen will sing my song, I'd have been like, GTFO is the kid's text.
Yes. Well, you and I are the same age, so we know how big Men at Work were in 82 and 83.
Yeah.
I one of my bigger thrills in my radio career is getting him to say, "Hey, it's Colin Hay. You're listening to the Acoustic Brunch on Ann Arbor's 107.1. Don't be a bad boy, Johnny. Don't you mess up or play the fool." I got him to say that.
That's pretty freaking awesome.
And I was like, I just had Colin Hay say something I put on a gazillion mixtapes. You know, Be Good Johnny was on a lot of mixtapes for girls.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Has my name in it.
So he also wrote one of my favorite songs of all time. You're Just Waiting for My Real Life to Begin.
Oh yeah, that's a great song.
You see, I can remember his name of his song, but not my own. Okay. So that's a huge thrill. Great Big Sea, when that stuff happened, we were writing by the seat of our pants and touring constantly. So that stuff happened. Like, it almost felt like it didn't happen because we were so busy at that time. But you actually went to Newfoundland. You wrote songs with them in person. That was just fun personally, and they're great guys. And it was a lot of drinking involved, so I didn't necessarily remember that we had written or accomplished that much. And then one of those songs came out of that very successful. Like, it became a big hit in Canada, like number one in Canada for a while. And then with Rob, he's just such a beautiful person that like he's such a successful guy, but still so human and down to earth and cool, and just he could be here hanging and there'd be no difference at all. Just a great vibe and great person. So I feel super blessed to have made. I'm not one of those writers who goes to Nashville and like that's just never appealed to me, because somebody I don't love is not. If somebody has a hit with one of my songs that I don't necessarily know or love them, like it's great, but that's not what motivates me. It's more fun to hear somebody like who I love. He's a person who connects to one of my songs. That's a huge thrill for me. So,
is there anybody you would like to collaborate with, or that you wish would cover one of your songs because you just love to hear it? Never really gave that any thought.
Well, there's an artist from Canada, Chloe Albert, who she was up for a Juno a few years ago, and so she actually did a cover of one of my songs, just kind of off the cuff. He's on video form, just it's a YouTube video. Yeah. That she sounds so beautiful singing it that I'm dying to get her to actually record it. so that would be a cool thing, just because I know she would do it so well. But that's the person I know. You know what I mean? That's what motivates me. It's just more the connectivity.
When you're driving from town to town, what keeps you company? Music or podcasts?
Both.
Really?
Both, yeah. Yeah, a lot of podcasts, a lot of talk radio, a lot of news, unfortunately, which I should stop listening to that. But it keeps me informed. And then lots of music and lots of phone calls and that kind of stuff. So
I actually heard a news story the other day that was for your health. Basically, it was recommending you stop listening to the news. On a news station. Okay.
You're like, that seems counterproductive, but okay.
Kind of, yeah.
I'll take that advice. Yeah.
Particular great music for you for the road? Is there something that motivates you when you're driving long distances?
No, it's more so just a specific song or something that I'm into at a certain point in time. So.
Well, making a living as a songwriter and a performer, really not that easy. It's a challenge, I think, for everybody who does it. Fortunately, you've had your music in several soundtracks and TV shows, which is a good thing. How much of that is luck, or how much of that is you've got a great team behind you?
Well, I don't really have a team for that.
No.
So that's, I would say, I'd say luck's a huge part of it. I think what happens is if you're nice to work with, or good to work with, or a good person, then people remember. Like there's a lot of stuff that I've gotten. There's a trail of people who this person led to this person, who led to this person. So just being recommended, but
Yeah.
like by people. Like you ask this songwriter to try to write something. Like for instance, August Rush. I wrote a song for that movie, and the producer of that, he sent me in a couple other things that he did the Casey Affleck movie.
Okay.
So
You're already on his radar then.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So TV soundtracks and stuff. That's yeah. I guess it is a lot of luck too. So yeah. I always tell because people ask me that. Like a lot of young artists ask me, like, how do you get licensing stuff for your film stuff? And I always say that it's being on tour is a huge thing because when I go to Los Angeles, it might not necessarily be a thing where people will show up at my gigs who do film stuff, but it gives me a reason to reach out. You say, hey, I'll be in town, and you want to meet for coffee or something. So I think just being a viable touring artist has been a big help to me. So it's always the first priority for me has always been touring, and just seeing my schedule, seeing dates on it, is being viable. This is my job. This is what I do. Where some people kind of go the other way, where they want to have a song happen first and then get the other stuff. So I don't know if that made sense, but
Yeah. Well, some of the soundtracks that your music has been included in include The Devil Wears Prada, Some Kind of Beautiful, Something About Mary, and August Rush. And just yesterday, I was kind of Googling around because I know in the movie it's not you singing it, it's Jonathan Rhys-Meyers.
Yeah.
And somebody named Paul Ponce put up a video of scenes, or might have been actually the part of the movie, I don't know, it looked kind of grainy, where Jonathan is singing your song This Time. Your video of This Time has only 86,000 views, which doesn't make any sense. This video put up by Paul Ponce has 7.6 million views.
right.
What the actual... Do you get monetized from that, I hope? I mean, this Paul Ponce is not like putting it up from the movie soundtrack. He's putting it up just because he's a guy.
Right, yeah. There is something that comes from that.
YouTube makes sure that the songwriter...
I think YouTube has been kind of they've been made to start to pay out to songwriters because it's not their content.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, like I try not to pay too much attention to the business end of things, just because sometimes that can become too much of a priority. So,
Bogs down your brain a little bit too much.
yeah, so I try to
yeah.
separate kind of commerce and art as much as possible, as long as I'm doing okay. You know what I mean? There's definitely times when I start to dig through my stuff and start to look at my contracts and start to look at that and
Make sure you're not getting screwed.
hire somebody to look. Yeah.
Well, that soundtrack got you to the Grammys. I remember you telling me the story of getting to sit way in the upper
Yes,
balcony.
I saw McCartney like a little ant, but just to be in the room with him,
Yeah.
was cool.
That was pretty cool.
But yeah, I mean, like the August Rush soundtrack. There's a reason why that has so many views is because the movie was so popular.
Yeah.
Not in theaters, but it had a post life that was really, really great. So it's a lot of people's favorite movies. It's because of that song is done very well and people know it.
Something that came out the same year your first debut album came out, solo album, I should say, was Shazam. And have you ever thought about the impact that might have had on your career because you're getting placed in TV shows and movies and people go, what the hell is that? And then they hold up their phone and go, oh, I never heard of this guy. And they follow you. Do you find that people come up to you in shows and say, I found your music because?
Of Shazam?
Oh,
yeah.
just in general.
Well, the thing about my career so far is that it's like there hasn't been one defining moment. This been like this is when I made it because I had a song in a Ford commercial but there's been lots of little things. So people will tell me all different like they heard me in a grocery store.
Home Depot.
They saw me open for Colin Hay or Martin Sexton or whoever, or just or a radio station, or just various things. And so it's always interesting to hear what's working. Sometimes it's been a YouTube video that somebody sent them, or like for instance, there's a K-pop star who sings my song from August Rush.
Oh,
So one day I had a bunch of fans show up from South Korea,
wow.
like young teeny boppers. So just very random things that happen. It's really fun to just discover how people found out about a certain song I wrote in my bedroom at one point in time that people here in South Korea. You know what I mean? Like that's really
amazing.
It's an interesting process to just see how far a song can travel, and your thoughts or feelings, or hopefully both in a song. But
You've also acted in a couple of movies. You want to tell me about that a little bit?
yes, I'm actually going to be in another movie.
Really?
Yeah. So to be totally honest with you, I've always basically I know I'm bad at acting. I know it. Like it's just one of those things that for some reason it drives me crazy enough that I want to get good at it. So I keep trying to
Better yourself.
to work at it. Yeah. So I was in a movie. It was a movie is right now on the festival circuit called A Winter's Love, where I play an arrogant ex-Grammy winning music teacher. And that's the first time I actually had maybe 30 lines in it. I really kind of YouTube videoed acting lessons and stuff, and tried to get better at it. And so I think I actually got a little better at it. And so my goal is with each thing to get a little better. But the nice thing about being a singer-songwriter is that no matter what you do creatively, it can all pour back into showing up in some town and just a different person knowing to me from some different way.
Mm-hmm.
So they could have seen me in a movie or heard a song in a commercial or that kind of thing. So
I didn't realize until I was listening to an audiobook of one of his written books that Alan Doyle was in the Robin Hood movie.
Oh, yeah, he has a big part in
I
that.
know. I just watched it because I'm like, I've never seen this. I should watch it. So maybe one day that'll be your thing.
Yeah.
You could hook up with Kevin Costner, do a movie.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely want to get better at it.
Yeah.
Like before I'm going to be in another movie now that's a little better. It has a couple stars in it, but I don't want to jinx it.
Tell me about it later.
Yeah.
If you can't talk
Off the air. Yeah.
How about another song
Yeah. I'm going to play a song
on a different guitar?
my other guitar,
On the bedazzled guitar.
which I could have changed, but we were talking, but
It's
I was
okay.
engrossed in our chat. So,
Thank you. Thank you for paying attention to what I'm saying.
yeah.
It doesn't happen everywhere I go. Believe it or
Likewise,
not.
Likewise. All right. I did break a nail last night. So finger picking's a little bit more difficult, but
Why tonight?
I know. Luckily, it was the last song, so yeah. We're at the intersection. Should I laugh or should I cry? What's it gonna be? I can barely decide. I feel your frustration, but you keep it in your mind and say I love you, and we'll make it through. We'll make it through. We're on a roller coaster that we never meant to ride. It started off so slow, didn't know it went so high. You slip me a smile, but I can see you're terrified. I say I love you, and we'll make it through. We'll make it through. Each time the sun comes up, I'm grateful for the day. Though you're sleeping, I can't help but kiss your face. It's quiet times in this old house when nobody's awake that I think of all the things I need to say. Remembering the first time we lost somebody that we knew. The sky was falling and the birds stopped chirping too. It's a helpless feeling when you don't know what to do. Just say I love you and we'll make it through. We'll make it through. We'll make it through. We'll make it through. We'll make it through.
One of my favorite tracks on the as of yet unautographed copy of Coldwater Waltz I'm holding in my hands. Let's Make It Through from Chris Trapper on Acoustic Alternatives. Love that tune there, Chris.
Oh, thank you.
You say I love you to your wife. She's got a book coming out, doesn't she? Or did she already
It's
put it
out.
out? It's already out? Tell me about that.
Now,
Okay.
yeah.
Tell me
Called
about-
Rest and Return.
Okay.
He's doing very well. She's actually much more famous than I am.
What?
Yeah, when we go out in Boston, literally she gets recognized everywhere. I'll get recognized maybe once in a while. Like we're at one of my shows, somebody recognizes me.
Oh, that's good. 'Cause they bought a ticket.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh.
But yeah, it's a beautiful book. It's daily meditations. At the start of the pandemic, we were both home, and so we were walking in the woods all the time, and she was just taking pictures of different things in nature, and she tied it into a really positive vision for every day, taking a moment to just be grateful, and it's a beautiful book. So I played with her at a couple book readings, and so
Book is again called what?
it's called Rest and Return. So just restandreturn.com. That's her book. So
And your wife's name is?
Corey Trapper.
Okay, there we go. People can actually find it now.
Yeah. Oh,
Maybe.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right. So is writing something you feel compelled to do, or do you feel like it's a job, or is it stories you want to tell, or where is it coming? Do you
That's
got
a
paid
great
rent?
question. That's a great question because I've been kind of commissioned to write a few times, but I always try to think about those situations. Like for the August Rush song, they actually sent me the script and had a very specific vision for what the song should be like, and I did imagine each time I submit a song for any project, if this does well, I'm gonna have to sing it again and again and again and again and again. So it needs it can't be bop.
You better like it.
It can't be Who Let the Dogs Out. There has to be some degree of credibility, connection, and that kind of thing. So it's not even necessarily about liking it as much as it's about it has to tell a part of my story, because that's why I'm on the road, is to forge kind of make people feel less alone and make myself feel less alone. So connecting with people. And so the August Rush song, when I wrote it, what was cool was that I found something about the character that I related to. He was like, he just left his band. I just left my band. We were both in kind of midlife crises, and so I could write about that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but mostly writing is just like I don't often write by force. Like just usually I just want to, I never think like I need to write a song, I need to write a record. I have to. Usually, like for the Rob Thomas tour, the funny thing is my newest record is a lot of kind of not sad songs necessarily, but very heavy songs. And I wrote them, mostly all on the Rob Thomas tour because he would take days off after every couple of shows, so we'd have a day off somewhere. So he's on one of the most joyous tours of my life. I was writing some of my saddest songs because that's how it works. It gives you time to reflect. And if I'm going through a sad time, maybe I'll write a party song because that's what I need to feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But mostly writing for me has always been a very similar process. It's an outlet. It's like my diary, where I can listen back to songs from the first Push Stars record in 1996, and know exactly where I was when I wrote the song in my life, what I was thinking about, what I was worried about, what I was connecting to. And so it's interesting. It's like that diary is out there for people. And so I also knew the first time a record went public that I'm going public with myself. And because the first song on that first Push Stars record is about masturbation.
Well, there you go.
So I was like, I'm going public. I'm going public.
I've done it.
Yeah.
I didn't go blind,
Yeah.
like they said I would.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, a little blurry, but
All right, then.
yeah,
Do you prefer being in the studio creating music, or do you like being on stage more?
both.
Both are great.
Both equal. The
key.
studio's like the lab, and the stage is like the party. That's yeah. I don't know. That's it'd be a tough choice.
Okay.
Because the studio is always very. It's optimistic because you see, no matter how many records you make, how many songs you've written and put out, like at least if you're just like me, I'm a cockeyed optimist. You think you have to be in music because you're gonna have a lot of rough gigs and tough nights. That I always think maybe this next song's the one. It's like, I'm still thinking about that. So maybe this record, maybe this, because honestly, because you have seen certain songs of mine go places where I could have never imagined, like as far as movies or overseas or whatever like the situation is. Like so one of my songs, I was thinking about this recently on George Clooney's last episode of ER. When he died in the car crash, it was my song in the background.
Really?
My song was a backdrop for his character
Which
dying.
song?
It's Cinderella. So he's off the second off
The Drive.
he's off the Push Stars major label record. So
Wow. I
yeah,
don't know if I knew that.
yeah. Well,
Fun
hey,
fact.
there's something new every time we meet.
I'm glad that we can still find joy in discovering things together.
I know.
As far as songs, I know I mean, it's been a couple years since this one. You're talking about a new record.
Yeah.
Are there a lot of songs that we don't hear as fans? Do you throw away a lot, or is it like your kind of economy? Like, I've written only good songs. Everything else.
No, what? I have a lot of partial ideas that aren't finished.
Okay.
So those I never show people. I don't play anything for anybody until I definitely feel it's definitely done. Because I have a whole theory about jinxing yourself, and once it's public, it's done. It's done. So if it's not complete, it's never be like I used to do that with the band a lot. We'd have a new idea for a song and introduce it in sound check, and we'd start playing it live. You never got finished. We just released a record of all B-sides.
And you also released this record.
Yes, yeah. But the B-side record has some of those songs that we just started playing because we like the sound check kind of jam session with it. It's just some of the lyrics are just not right and not good. And I listen back and I kind of have a few cringe-worthy moments, but overall I'm pretty like I have a lot of half sheet of papers with like a verse in a chorus written down, but that's it. And sometimes I'll go back and look at them and think, well, that's actually good.
You can turn that into something.
Yeah, I should finish that. Yeah. That's interesting. More often, it's like there's a coffee stain on it and it's not good. I'm going to throw the page out in the garbage.
Oh, come on. A piece of history.
That's right.
I mentioned at the start that the last time we spoke was 2018, and you were actually playing songs from this Push Stars album, which wasn't out at the time. 3 Feet in the Air was coming out soon. Is there more talk of maybe a potential another Push Stars record?
Well, we just did a Push Stars Christmas record.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, I have that.
Yeah.
That's digital only, if I remember
Digital
correctly.
only, right. Which is almost like, did it really exist?
That's why
because there's no physical.
I agree.
Physical manifestation.
You and I being the same age, we're going to agree on that.
Yeah.
What's next, though? It sounds like another solo album, right?
I'm looking for like right now. I'm looking for because my last record was very specifically mellow. Like I just felt like that's where people were at, just down, staying home and with families and connecting and at a different level. So I'm not really sure. Like I'm not really sure. There's so many things I want to do musically. They want to record with like a record with maybe a Latin band or something, just to try something totally different. Or maybe I'll do a rock record. It's just I'm not necessarily sure yet.
So you don't have anything planned?
Nothing planned at all. I'm wide open to ideas. So if you know a good polka band, maybe I'll do some rapping on top of polka, create a whole new genre.
Not that.
Polka gangsta rap.
I think it is time for a stopgap record while you're writing the next record. A live acoustic record has not been in your catalog yet.
You know what? It's funny you mention that.
Is it funny?
Because no, it's not funny. It's a little funny. No,
you're funnier than I am. I've seen you on stage.
That's something that's where my team and I, which is one other guy, we're talking about.
Hi, Nick.
We're talking about you're talking about that right now. So.
Yeah, good. I think it's about the right point of your career because I go to your shows. It doesn't really necessarily. This record is an exception, but a lot of what I hear at your shows isn't what I'm hearing on the records.
Right.
I love both, but
I
kind of get used to hearing you solo and acoustic.
Yeah,
so I'd like to have a record that kind of says, "Hey, here's Chris Trapper solo acoustic."
Usually, the only thing is that there's jokes on it, then I can't use them again because people will know the punchline.
And you'll just have to fade out in between songs.
Yeah,
annoying.
Right.
Well, Chris, I look forward to whatever it is, and I would love to hear another song before I let you go.
Let me close with the song that Colin Hayes
awesome.
can cover.
Also recorded on the Push Stars record.
Yep. This is coming out, his version, which is so beautiful. I think it's out. It's out March 18th. So. I'm only singing this because I'm vocally warmed up now, so I can. I hope. Up and away we set off, secretly scared we get lost. Up in the clouds, over the town, beyond the wall. Some of us knew we might fall under the weight of it all. And though we'd been warned of the oncoming storms, still we stood tall. So from the moon straight to the sunrise, this will be our time to free fall and nosedive out of the black night into the bright lights, with the whole world in our sight, like a miniature paradise. Ooh. Shadow is cast on the ground, but I'm flying too fast to look down at the rooftops and trees and my family waving at me. Soar from the moonlight straight to the sunrise. This will be our time to free fall and nosedive out of the black night into the bright lights, with the whole world in our sight, like a miniature paradise. Ooh.
Chris Trapper's been my guest today on Acoustic Alternatives. That's a song called Into the Bright Lights, available in many forms. Push Star's latest album, digital EP you released, as well as
my record, Symphonies of Dirt and Dust. I'm just going to release that on every record. ever put out from now on until people really grasp the song. I'm going to keep trying.
I mean, once Colin Hay covers it, it's going to be a hit.
Yes, yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here,
Thanks
Chris.
for having me. This was great. A great format. Well, I think I babbled a little bit too much, but I appreciate the opportunity.
It's conversation
Yeah,
between
that's right.
friends.
That's right.
I'm going to publicly thank you for still. I mentioned one of my biggest thrills was Colin Hayes saying, don't be a bad boy, Johnny.
Yeah.
Another one was, we talked about this when it happened, but you thanked me in one of your records, like unsolicited. I had no idea I was going to be thanked in the record that had Colin Hay and Rob Thomas as special guests. And and somebody that we both know said, "Have you seen the credits of the new Chris Trapper?" I'm like, "No, I haven't." Oh my God, I'm in them. So,
Well, I think broadcasters are kind of the unsung heroes of music because you're spreading it.
thank you.
You know what I mean? So,
Well, great to see you, and I hope
likewise.
to see you next time you pass through town, which will be, if you're watching this from Michigan, you'll be in town with Alan Doyle at the Arc in April. And
That's right.
I'll be there as a patron in the audience. Just
That'll
like
be great.
Many people.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Acoustic Alternatives this week brought to you by Zingerman's Greyline, zingermansgreyline.com, 734-230-2300. It's a great space you can trust if you're looking to hold an event somewhere. That is definitely a great choice in Ann Arbor. Please check them out. And again, thank you to my guest, Chris Trapper, and thanks for joining us.